Hello guys, you are welcome back to Labi Premium Concepts. On this channel, we share educational content ranging from mathematics to accounting.
Yes, you are welcome back to our live session today. So thank you once again for joining us on this channel. So in today's video, as you can see, you are going to look at key questions on inventory control and turnover under business mathematics. So that's what we're going to discuss on the channel today. So if you are new to the channel, please do well to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and then share so that others will get a benefit to join us as always. So thank you once again for joining us on this channel. So I'm about sharing my screen so that we actually move on with the discussion going. So do well to share the video and then like it as well. So thank you for joining us today on the channel. So we are going to look at the various questions that you see here, or the following question that you see on your screen, okay, as a way to explain the concept of the inventory control and turnover, how the business control its inventory and how they can utilize it to optimize their sale, right? That's what we want to look at. And then we have a quick question to support our understanding from that line or that perspective. So we have to use the information to answer question 1 to 4. A store uses the following specific identification codes, right, to represent costs and track its inventory, noting that for all costs, the last two letters are pesos, and for the quantity of goods, the number of items in stock is listed, and the value follows the same principle as the cost of the item. So these are the code. We have the letters and we have what the numbers. Okay, so this method of checking the value of inventory is what specific identification what codes. Specific identification codes. So we have DAERMPECSK. So you see that here we have two E's in here. I'm bringing my pen. We have two E's in here. We have one E here. But we can see that another E also here. So going forward, we'll get to know the meaning behind these two, right? So we are asked to first question 1, an item with an inscription PAT cost. Remember, we were told from the preamble that for each cost, the last two letters are passwords, right? And then for the quantity, the number of items in stock is listed, and then the value follow the same principle. Okay, so that's what we have been told as for the value or the cost of the item, right? Okay, so if that is the case, then this is what we're going to do. We are asked to find an item with an inscription PE80 cost what? So that's what we're going to do. So this is what we're going to do. We will say that PE80, so we have PE, A and what? T. Okay, sorry. We have PE80 should be equal to, so here we locate the P and its corresponding number or value, and then we attach that to that. So we know P is what? 6, right? We can see from here 6. 6, right? So meaning that P is what? 6. Okay. Then we come to E. As I said, we have two E's. We have E with a number 3, and we also have E with number what? 7. Okay. So we consider the two E's in this case. So we have P, which is 6, and then we consider the first E, which is what? 3. Okay. We realize that we said for cost, the last two letters represent what? Passwords. Okay. So we need to be guided about the last two letters of the item under consideration. Okay. So we have PE. So we have P6 and we have E to be 3, the first E, which is 3. So since the last two represent passwords, we say point. And then we go for A, which is what? 2. Okay. A is 2 here. And then we know T is what? 8. So you're going to get what? 63.28. That's the first part of what? The PE80 because of the E part. So once we have gotten that, we also take into account the second E and see which of the options will be found on, the multiple options that we see here. I believe that is fine. All right, so let's go for the other E. So that one too, we have P to be what? 6. Okay. We have that E here, which is what? 7. So that should be 7 point. And we have A to be 2. And then we have that of T to be what? 8. So we are going to have 63.28 Ghana cedis or 67.28 Ghana cedis. So which of these actually is found in the option here? So we can say that it's only the 63 that we can see, 63.28 that we can see from this option. And so therefore we'll say that the answer should be what? Option what? B. So that should be, we just take it or shade, you are good to go. Let's move on to question number 2. If the item Milo has been coded X, T, M, P, and K, how many tins of Milo are in stock? How many tins of Milo are in stock? So we'll say that the number of things in stock, we just follow the same coding here. Okay. So we know that X is what? 9. All right. X is 9. From here, X is 9. And then we know that T is what? 8. Then after T, you move on to M. So M is what? 5. We know M is 5 here. And we also know that P is what? 6. And we also know that K is also what? 0. So meaning that XTMPK will be what? 98,560 as stock of what? Miloten in stock. And so therefore we'll go for what? 98,560, and that should be what? Option C. And you are good to go. All right. Let's move on to question number 3. The value of inventory in stock as at September 10 is, so it is what? DR, E, M, okay, A. Then we have K and what? P. So here you see we have the E also appearing here. So we treat it as the same thing that we are dealing with the one in terms of the cost. So here we are talking about what? The value. So meaning that we will have what? Two values. And then they will compare and see which of the options will be found in there. And then we select that as our answer. Is that okay? So here too, you have followed the same logic. All right. So we know D is what? 1. So 1. Okay. We know R is what? 4. Then we start with the first E here, which is what? 3, right? Which is 3. So we have 3. Okay, remember we said for the course, the last two letters represent pesos. So we have our point even here before we don't make any mistake going forward. All right. So we have 4, 1, 4, 3, And after that, we move on to M, which is what? 5. Okay. After M, move on towards A, which is what? 2. Point. We know K is what? K is 0. And then P is what? P is also what? 6. Okay. So we're going to have what? 14,352.06. 14,352.06. So that is the first part of what? In terms of the E, that's the first part of the cost or the value of this inventory in cities. Let's look at this, the second E, which is what? The 7, using the same word code. So meaning that we're going to have the second to be, so or, so D remains same, so 1, R remains what? 4, and we come to the second E, which is what? 7. 7 here, so we have the 7 here, okay, and then I think the rest will remain the same. So we have 5, we have 2.06. So we have what? 14,752.06 or 14,352.06. So you ask yourself, among these two, which of the options will be found as part of what? The options here, and that should be what? 14,352.06. And we go for what? A. And we are good to what? Go. So always when you see two, let's say letters appearing twice with a different code or number, this is how you must treat it so that you get to know the right option that will be found. Even if it's not an MCQ, but rather it is a theory, you must get us or provide us what? Two possible options or two possible what? Answers to support what you are saying, so that at the end of the day, you won't find yourself at the wrong side of the move. All right. So that is what we need to know when it comes to these kind of issues. Then question 4. Two items in stock have a specific codes T, X, A, E, D, and we have what? R, A, X, T, D. The question is, what is the sum of their prices? What is the sum of their price? So here we're talking about price, and so therefore we know that the last two letters represent our pairs words. All right. So meaning that I'll immediately create my dot here. So I have STA.ed. Then same thing here to RAX. Then I have my dot TD. I hope we are following in that line. So here too we have E here. So we're going to deal with it in that line too. So we'll come back. We know that our T is what? 8, right? I think that's 8. Sure. So we know that our T is what? 8. And then we know that our X is what? 9. And we know that our A is what? A is what? 2. So we have 892 point. Okay. And we know that E for the first E here is what? 3. So we have 3. And we know D to be what? 1. D is what? 1. Okay. So since we are asked to find the sum, we say that plus. Then we go for R is what? So R here is 4. We know A to be 2. Okay. A is 2 actually. And then we have X to be what? 9. Dot. And we know T is what? 8. T is 8. And then we know D to be equal to what? 1. D is 1. Okay. So we are getting 1 here. D is 1. Okay. So let's sum up these values. With my case, when I sum up the 2, this is what I was getting at the end of the day. I had, when I sum up the prices for the first item, TEA, ED plus RAXTD, is what I was getting for that. I had a total of what? 1,322.12. 1,322.12. That is where we deal with the first E as part of the coding system, right? With respect to the value or the sum of the price in here. But what about the second word, E, which we know it was what? 7. Yeah, this 7 we are talking about as E, right? So if that is the case, then we'll just change the 3 to what? 7, right? So that becomes what? 892.3. Rather, it should be what? 7. So we have 7, 1. But whatever we have here remains the same. Nothing will change. So we have 429.81. So what are we getting to? So here too, I had a total figure of what? 1,322.52. You can confirm that with your calculator and let's see if that is true. All right. So this is what I was getting, 1,222.52. So we ask ourselves, among these alternative possible options that we are getting, which of these actually is an option in the options that we see here? And you can clearly see that it is what? 1,322.12 that will actually meet the summation of this what code that we have here, right? And that should be what? Option B. Because we can't see 1,322.52 here. So that one wouldn't be an option here. So we just take 1,322.12 in that line. And I believe that is clear. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. So we take it from there. So let's continue. Question number 5. So we are asked to use the information below to answer question 5 to what? 11. The following is an extract from the inventory records of Manan Warehouse Limited. So we have the item here. These are the items. These are the items. Okay. We have the unit cost and we have what? The quantity. Okay. So the first requirement here is that we are asked to say what is the average price per item purchased in the period, including the beginning inventory. We are asked to correct it to decimal place. Before even you start to do with these workings, when you get a table like this, you must first compute for your total quantity and your total what? Average. Your total summation of the multiplication of the unit cost and then the quantity. So I mean that by extension. Yeah, we need to compute what we call extension. All right. So we need to compute what we call extension. So this is what we're going to do. For you to compute for individual extension, you say that for the beginning inventory, we will say that 15.10 as the unit price multiplying what? The quantity, which is what? 100. So we have 15.1 multiplying 100, 22.1 to multiplying 105. And in order to we get to December, that is the last unit price and it's what? Quantity that we actually produce, right? Or we want to sell or kind of purchase, depends on what they want you to do at the end of the day. So how do we do that? We say that we create an extension here. So I have a section called extension. Extension means we multiply the unit prices by the average. We multiply the unit prices by the quantity under consideration, right? So what is our unit price here? It is what? 15.10 multiplying what? 100, right? So what are we getting? So we have, so this is what we're going to do. Just bring in multiplication sign here. So 15.1 multiplying 100, what are we going to get? So in my case, I had an extension of what? 1,500 and what? 10 for the first one. Then February, 22.12 multiplying 105. You can confirm for me and let's see if that is true. With that to when I multiply, so here we are multiplying everything to get individual extension. Okay. So with that to I had 2,322.60. 2,322.60. Okay. And then we come to May. 18.25 multiplying 120. Follow the same logic. With my case, I had 2,190, 2,190, 2,190. And we come to July. 11.75 multiplying 132. What are we getting? I had a figure of what? 1,000. Okay. 1,551 point. That's 1,500 and what? 51.00.0. And October to 26.26 multiply 145. That one too I had 3,807.70. So here is a matter of what? Multiplying unit cost by the quantity involved to get the extension, right? So it's very simple. No big deal with that. Then you go for last one, 25.15 multiplying 135. With that too, I had 3,395.25. That's what I got for that. So once you're able to get that, then you tell us that you also sum up the individual extension and you also sum up individual quantities involved with respect to the item under consideration. So we sum up 100 plus 105, 120, 132, 145, and 135. Remember, 275 is the ending inventory. It's not part of the summation. So we don't include that as part of the summation. So don't include that. You just sum up those items with respect to their unit prices in terms of the quantity. You just sum them up and you get that. So when I sum up 100 plus 105 plus 120, 135, 145, then 135, I had a figure of what? 737. That's what I'm getting as my total quantity. And when I also sum up that of the total extension to, I had a figure of what? 14,000, 14,776.55. That's 14,776.55 Ghana cedis. Okay, we are dealing with Ghana cedis, so Ghana cedis. Right? So that is what you get for your total extension and your total quantity under consideration. I see some of you guys joining the stream. Please do want to like the video, share it out. If you have any question, drop it in the comment section so we'll take it from there. So once you have gotten that, that's fine. Now let's get back to the main question for question 5. It goes like, what is the average price per item purchased in the period, including beginning inventory? We are asked to correct what? 2 decimal place. Correct to 2 decimal place. Correct to 2 decimal place. So we said that when it comes to the valuation of inventory, an average or weighted cost is also part of the way of valuing inventory, which takes into account the total extension divided by the total quantity from various periods under consideration. So average price, we will say that average price per item should be equal to the total extension, I'll shorten it, okay, divided by the total quantity, That will help us to find the average price per item. And I believe that is fine at your end there. So we know that the total extension was what? 14,776.55. So that's going to give us what? 14,776.55. So once we are getting this, we then divide by the total quantity that we computed as what? 737. And what are we getting at the end of the day? We are asked to correct this to 2 decimal places. When you key this on your calculator, you're going to get 20.04 with other numbers after these numbers are actually pronounced, right? So since we were asked to convert or correct it to 2 decimal places, that's what we're going to do. We will say that it should be what? In 2 decimal places, we need to have what? 2 values after the decimal what? Or after the dot, right? So that should be what? 20.05. You're going to get something like this. I think 20.04, 5, something. I mean, those values there. So since you're asked to correct 2 decimal place, we just round the 5. That should be what? Added to the 1, making it what? 5. So that becomes 20.05. And that should be the average price per item under consideration. And I believe that is perfect. So this is how we calculate for the average price per item. Compute for individual extension, add all of them for us to get the total extension, and also add all the total quantity under the period that we are taking into account. That is not, shouldn't be included the ending inventory. The ending inventory is what we want to value. So you shouldn't add that inventory as part of the units from these various periods. So let's take note of that. So meaning that we are going to get what? 20.05 as our average price per item, since we were asked to convert to 2 decimal places. And I believe that is fine there. So meaning that we're going to get what? Option what? C, which is 20.05 in that line. So I'll just take or shade it and then I'm good to go. Then question 6. What is the extension for the month of October? So you see the reason why you need to, first of all, compute for all individual extensions and even the total quantity and the total extension. It will make your work so simple for you to actually beat time in an examination situation, right? So we're asked to compute for, or we're asked to find what is the extension for the month of October. So we just want to locate the month of October and then we identify the extension. So that is here, right? So for the month of October, here, where I've used the arrows, it is 26.26 multiplying what? 145. And we're getting what? 3,807.7 what? 0. That's going to be the extension for the month of October. And that should be what? Option. So here we mean 26.26 multiplying 145. I think that is correct. Yeah. So this is going to give us what we call extension for the month of October. And what are we getting? We should be able to get to 3,807.70 Ghana cedis. So that becomes our extension for the month of October. And that should give us option what? B. That should give us option B in that line. So let's take note of that. Then question number 7 is saying that what is the total extension? What is the total? So you see the benefits of always computing for individual extension, the total extension, and even other issues in that line. So the total extension that we had was 14,776.55. 14,776.55. So that should be which of the options? 14,776.55. So you see here the ending decimal values are what? 3535, right? So since it is not what we had here as 14,776.55, we're likely to create an option E. Or in a worst case scenario, you just identify the options that is actually close to your answer that you've gotten, right? So if I wanted even to take that as a worst case scenario, I wouldn't even create option E, but I would say that I'll go for what? Option C. That would have been in a worst case scenario, right? But since in math, values are, they are not abstract, but they are exact, we'll just go by saying that we'll go for option E and say that that should be what? 14,776.55. In a worst case scenario, you should have go for what? C, but we won't go for that. We'll create an option. So in a situation where in examination condition, those who actually engage in the exams when it comes to MCQ related stuff, here's what you need to do. When you think you are right with your answer and it's not part of the options, then you must create another option and then shade on your scannable sheet or whatever you are answering on it. Then you'll be fine in that line. So let's take note of that. If you have any question, drop it in the comment section so we take it from there. Now, question number 8. What is the value of inventory using the weighted average method? So to find the value of inventory using the weighted average method, it is actually where we compute for the unit price or the average price per the item and then multiply that by the quantity that was left at the end of the day. That is the inventory that we have at the end of what? The period, right? So we see that the inventory as our ending inventory in this case was what? 275. So once we know our average price per item, we'll just multiply the average price per item, right? Which is what? 20.05 by 275 for us to get the value of the inventory where we are using what? The weighted average method. Okay. So here, since we're also asked to correct that to two decimal place, we just use the two decimal place value here, which is what? 20.05, and then multiply by that, and then multiply that by the inventory or the ending inventory is what? 275. And we get what? Our ending inventory or our value of inventory using the weighted average method. So I'll call it as what? WAM, right? Which should be equal to, for the ending inventory or the value of the ending inventory should be equal to, so that should be value of what? Inventory. Value of inventory should be equal to, so here I would say that the unit selling price was what? 20.05, and then multiply by the ending inventory of what? 275. what are we getting at the end of the day? With my case, I had the value of the inventory using the average method to be equal to 5,513.75. This is what I had. You can confirm that on the comment section for us, see if that's correct. So I had 5,513.75, and that was the, which option is that? Which option is that? I think option A, right? Yeah, I think it's option A. That is 75. So option A, and you are good to go. So this is how we find the value of ending inventory using the weighted average method. You must first of all compute for the average price per unit, which is as a result of adding all the quantity, all right, and also compute for individual extension, also sum all of them up and then cause an average. That is the total extension divided by the total quantity, so that you get to know your average price per item or per quantity. And after that, you use that price to value your ending inventory by multiplying that price by the ending inventory for you to get your weighted average, the value of inventory using the weighted average method. And I believe that is fine. So that is how you should go about question number 8. Now we want question number 9. What is the value of inventory using the first in, first out method? So first in, first out method is also another way to value inventory. It states that when it comes to first in, first out method, in terms of value inventory or in terms of issuing inventory, inventory that came in as what? The earliest inventory should be the one that should go out what? First. Inventory that came in as what? Previous inventory should be the one that should go out first when we are issuing such what? Inventory. So it takes into account. So when we come back to our table, we'll say that what was, which inventory in terms of which item has been in the company or warehouse for a quite number of period, right? And we start that by what? Looking at the beginning inventory. So beginning inventory has been in the warehouse for quite number of what time, right? So first thing first, I would say that if you are issuing, then it should be the beginning inventory should go out first, followed by February, followed by May, July, till all of them are issued out from stock. This is what we call the first in, first out method. Whatever came in first should go out what? First. First in, first out. First in, first out. So let's take note of that. So let's take note of that. So here we are asked to value what our ending inventory is what? 275 using the first in, first out. So this is what we're going to do. Since we know the principle of first in, first out method states that which inventory that came in as the oldest inventory should be the one that should go out what? First, right? So identify the oldest inventory, which is what? The beginning what? Inventory. So meaning that the beginning inventory will go out. Okay, will go out. So meaning that we have what? 275 as an ending inventory, okay? So we want to sell the oldest inventory till we get what? 275 from this table, okay? So we'll see that the 100 will go out. And when you subtract 100 from the total inventory we computed, we had what? 737 rather, sorry. So when you take 100 from 737, you should be able to left with 637. Okay, and then I wish I could have gotten a calculator for this. Let me see if I can get a calculator for this, and we take it from there. I'm coming. And even that, okay, let me manage it. Setup is such a way that I can use only one up. Wow. Okay, so 100 will go out first, and we are left with what? 637. Okay, and then we ask ourselves 1052. I think 105 can also, we can also sell that from the remaining. And what are we getting? 105 from this. You're going to get what? 2. You're getting 3. You're getting what? 5. So you're going to get what? 5. You're going to get 5, 3, 2. After the first two inventory, which is 100 and 105. And we ask ourselves, can we also issue 120 out from the remaining? So we also subtract 120 from the remaining. Let's see what we're going to get. So we're going to have 2. Here we're getting 1. And here we're getting what? 412. Okay, so we're getting 412 at the end of the day. So ask ourselves, can we also issue all the, so here is off, so you have taken all the first three. So we ask ourselves, can we also issue all the 132 from 4, 1, 2? Let's see if that is possible. Because the goal here is that after we issuing all this inventory, we should be able to left with an inventory of what? 275. So that we know that this is the inventory that is coming from this period that we're going to value using the first in, first out method. And instead that whatever inventory has been in the warehouse or in the stock for a quite number of period of time, we need to issue such stock out. So we talk about the oldest inventory that should go out what? First. That's the first in, first out principle or the philosophy and underlining the principle of first in, first out. So now we have a balance of 412. So we are here 132. Can we also issue all the 132 units out? Let's see. So we have 132. So we take 2 from 2, you are left with what? 0. So here you're going to get what? Borrow, you're making here 11. Throw the 1 away, you are getting 10. When you subtract 3 from 10, we are getting 7. So add the 1, 2, we are getting 8. Right? You can do with your calculator. Me, I don't have a calculator here, so I'm just trying to go by class 1 approach. And then when you also subtract, so mean that here you are left with 3. So you subtract 1 from 3, we are getting what? 2. Okay. So mean that you're left with what? 280, that's 280, right? So meaning that all the inventory from July can also go out. Is that okay? We can also sell all the October what? Inventory out. And I believe that is fine. So since we were left with what? 275. And now after issuing the first 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4 level of inventory, we are left with 280, meaning that we need to take only just what? 5 from what? The next inventory for us to get what? 275 as the ending inventory. And we will know where this ending inventory is coming from, whether it's coming from October and then December, or at the end of the day, whatever you're going to get will be the case. I believe that is clear. So here, since we are left with 275, meaning that we will subtract only 5 from the October inventory, and that should fetch us what? 140. So when we add 140 plus 135, you should be able to get what? 275. So mean that we're going to value our ending inventory using the first in, first out method from 140 units of October and 135 units from what? December. And that should be the value of the ending inventory using the first in, first out principle. Okay. So once we know that, then we'll come here, we'll say that therefore our value of what? Ending inventory, value of inventory using first in, first out, should be equal to 140 from October, okay, multiplying then the unit price of what? 26.26, okay, 0.26 plus 135 from what? December, which is what? 135, multiply the unit price of what? 25.15. So we add that one to it. So we have what? 135 multiplying 25.15. So what are we getting? For 135 multiplying 25.15, we already know that the answer is what? 3395.2. That's 3,395.25. So I can write that one here as 3,395.25. Okay. And what are we getting for 140 multiplying 26.26? What are we getting for that? That one you should be able to get. You should be able to get 3,000. Okay, 676.40. Here's what you need to get for this. You can check with your calculator and let's see if that is true, right? And let's see if that is true. All right. So meaning that when we add the two, with my case, I had what? 7,071.65. So here you see that you are able to value the ending inventory of what? 275, which as a result of what? 140 coming from October and 135 coming from December. And it's fetching us what? 7,071.65. This is how we value inventory using the first in. So you follow the principle that what came in as the oldest inventory should be the inventory that should go out first. So at the end, once you are done with the issue, whatever is going to be left, that's why you're going to value using 8 unit prices, and you are good to what? Go. And you are good to go. So let's take note of that. And that should, which option? That should be option what? D. That you take or you shade, you are good to go. If you have any question, please drop in the comment section so we take it from there. Now, question number 10. Based on the first in, first out philosophy, how much of the ending inventory is from October? So we are using the first in, first out to compute for its value, right? The value. And we are getting what? 7071.65. And the question is saying that based on this same first in, first out philosophy, how much of the ending inventory for which we know we were left with what? 275 is coming from where? October. And we know that that is what? 140, right? That's what we indicated here as what? 140. So 140 of the total of 275, which is the ending inventory, is coming from where? October. And that should be what? 140. They can even ask you, let's say, how much of the ending inventory in terms of quantity is coming from December. That should have been what? 135. Okay. If they ask you that, let's say, how much of the ending inventory is coming from, let's say, July. Do you have any ending inventory coming from July? That is no. So that should be what? 0. So these are the ways that they can tease you to actually think for you to get an answer to a problem. So this is how you need to reason in that line so that we understand the principle or we understand the concept that we are actually learning. So meaning that out of this, it should be what? 140. That is coming from what? October. That is coming from October using first in, first out principle. So question 11 is saying that should be our last question. It's saying that what is the value of the inventory using the last in, first out method? So that is opposite to the first in, first out. So for last in, first out, whatever inventory that came in as the latest batch of inventory, okay, should be the one that should go out first. So last in, first out. It came in last, but it should go out what? First. This is what we call the last in, first out what? Principle or the philosophy. Whatever we bought now should be the one that should go out what? First, right? Should be the one that should go out what? First. So let's take note of that. So here, our last in, first out will mean that we need to go back to our table and then do the same calculation that we were doing. Is that okay? So we'll say that since we know the end inventory is 275, the inventory that came in as the latest inventory should be the one that should go out what? First. Is that okay? So here we have what? The latest inventory from December, which is what? 135. So we start with the analysis. We create the same thing. We have what? A total of what? 373, right? So the latest inventory is what? 135. We subtract 135 from 737. And what are we getting? So we have 135 taken from here. We are getting 20. We are getting, so we are getting 602. We are getting 602. Okay. So meaning that we can issue all the December inventory and still get other inventory left. Can we also issue 145 from the whole of this without affecting our ending inventory of 275? That is possible. So let's see, 145. When I subtract, so here I'll borrow, making here 12. So meaning that I have here to be 7. Here should be 9. So I'm getting here to be what? 5. And here should be 5. I'm here to be what? 4. So I'm going to get what? 4, 5, 7. So we are done with 145. Then we come back to 132. Can we also issue all 132 from the remaining 4, 5, 7? Let's see. Let me clean some part here so that we'll have some space for this. So that 1, 2, we are going to get what? 2 from 7. You are left with what? 5. Then here you are left with 2. Then here you are left with what? 3. So you are left with what? 3, 2, 5 after 132. So here's also what? Off. We have taken this, this, and that. That's the last in, first out approach. And then can we also subtract or issue all the 120 inventory using the last in, first out from the remaining 3, 2, 5? Let's see if that's possible. So here is going to give us 5. Here we are getting 0. Here we are getting 2. No, we can't issue all the 120 from what? The remaining 3, 2, 5. Because that's going to reduce our closing balance, for which we know is what? 275 to what? 205. So that's not possible. So mean that we need to actually subtract a number that on the day won't affect our ending inventory as what 275. So meaning that how much should you subtract from 120, or we should issue from 120 so that we get our ending inventory of what 275. And I'm thinking that it should be what? Should it be 50? Let's see. 50. All right. So let's say here it's going to give us 5. Here, when I borrowed, we're making here what? 12. When you take 5 from 12, we are left with what? 7. And then here, we're left with 2. So 270. So meaning that we can only issue 50 from 120, so that at the end of the day, whatever we have as the inventory from that's May, February, and beginning inventory will fetch us our end inventory of what? 275. 275. So meaning that we only take into account just 50. We issue just 50 from here, and we are left with what? 70. Okay, so at the end of the day, when we add 70 plus 105 plus 100, we should be able to get 275. This is how we use, or this is how the last in first out principle is also what? Applied. Okay, or actually this is how we applied actually. Okay, so here, once you have gotten, you're going to find the value of each of these inventory in that line. So for the 70, the unit price was what? 18.25. So we say that we have what? 70 plus, 70 multiplying what? 18.25. That is from the May, isn't so? Yeah. And then move on to February. So the February one, we have the extension already here, isn't so? We have it here, the circled one. So we can say that here too. Let me bring in that. Let me bring in that. So we can say that here it should be what? 105. I think we have it here. 105 multiplying what? 22.12. 22.12. Then plus we have 100 multiplying what? 15.10. I think that is all. Yeah. So once we are getting that's fine. So at the end of the day, when you compute for 70 multiplying 18.25, you should be able to get to what? 1,277.50 plus, we know 105 multiplying 22.12. From here, you will get what? 2,322.60. I mean this. Okay. So straight away, we will say that here should be what? 2,322.60. Then plus, here too should be what? 1,510. So I don't know, when you sum them all up, you should be able to get what? 5,110.10. And this is going to be the, let me chip in this here from here. I want to take it from here and bring it here. So this is what we're going to get as our ending inventory, where we are using what? Last in, first out. When we are using last in, first out. So let's take note of that. Any question? Any question? You have any question? Let me know. Any question? So any question? If you have any question, let us know in the comment section. Okay, let's see. John is saying good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining us today on this channel. The mail is saying that hi, hello. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining us today on the channel. You are saying that please, I'm not seeing it clearly. So here you check your connectivity, right, and then you'll be fine in that line. Then Solomon Adabu is saying that please, about before we were taught that the last inventory should move out first, and vice. He said, before we were taught that the last inventory should move out first, vice versa to the LIFO. I don't think that is what you were taught. Maybe probably you didn't actually get the line that you were taught. I know that first in, first out method means that the inventory that came in as the oldest inventory should be the one that should go out first. So by oldest, we mean that the inventory that has been in stock for a number of period of time should be those inventory that should go out first. So you follow that principle until you get to know your ending inventory, then whatever you get from the end inventory from the period, you multiply by their unit price so that you get to know the value of the end inventory under consideration. So first in first out means that whatever inventory that came in as the first or the oldest inventory. So always the oldest inventory will always be taken from the beginning inventory and then the next subsequent periods that actually you see the inventory flowing that line. So first in first out means that whatever inventory that came in as what the first should be the one that should go out. So looking at this, let me show my board the question once again. So looking at this, you realize that the beginning inventory is the oldest inventory in stock. And that should be the one that should go out because when you analyze, you can clearly see that it is the beginning inventory that came in the warehouse what? The earliest, right? It came in the inventory the earliest. So if you want to use the first in first out, it should be the one that should go out first. And you follow that till you get to your ending inventory and then you value that. And if it's the last in first out, that is opposite to the first in first out. Whatever inventory that came in as the latest to me, we mean the new inventory that has arrived in the warehouse should be the one that should go out first. And in this case, that should be coming from what? December, which should be the latest inventory. So we need to take note of that. And I know that probably this is why you were taught, but maybe probably you didn't get what the one who taught you actually was. So I think that's how it should be. I think that's how it should be. So that's how you need to take it in that way. So let's take note of that. Okay, that's fine. Then uh, Jessica is saying that, but this wasn't how we were taught as the FIFO. Okay, but this is how you need to know, and this is how you. So I don't know where you actually learn it from, but I know that this is how the principle should actually work. This is how the principle should actually work when it comes to first in, first out. The one that came as the oldest inventory, or the one that came in as the earliest inventory, should be the one that should go out towards first in that order. So let's take note of that. Someone is saying that, what again? Yeah, I agree, but they disagree. Okay, I mean, don't get yourself confused. That is how it should be. No, you shouldn't get confused. That is how the principle should be. You can refer that, Google it, research on that. You see that is how it should be. So, which inventory that came in as the earliest, that is the oldest inventory, should be the one that should go out first. So it's better you revise or you revisit your books again. I think that by that way you get it fine. I mean, you get it in a good way. But this is how it needs to be taught. This is how issue or the principle needs to be explained. That whatever goes out first should be the one that should, goes out. I mean, comes in first should be the one that should go out what first. That's first in, first out. And whatever came in as the latest should be the one that should go out first. That's why we are using the last in, first out in that line. So let's take note of that. Let's take note of that. All right. So if there are no any other question that I need to respond to, then we'll call it a day. And then we'll see you in the next session where we discuss other issues in relation to that. So I'll see you in the next section. Bye bye.
Hello guys, you are welcome back to Labi Premium Concept. On this channel, we share educational content ranging from mathematics to accounting.